All right, now our final effort in Adobe Illustrator and working with perspective drawing, and actually our final project in Adobe Illustrator, will be to create a perspective drawing of a city street that's going to require a certain amount of detail. Let's do this first of all. Let's hop over to this handout, and this handout, which is called Project 5 City Street, will be located on the Courses Drive on Drive L, and you can look at this anytime you want to, but I'm going to talk through real quickly. I'm going to go through the requirements and the point values and all that kind of thing, thinking too many things at once. This is an 80-point project. All right, the mission is to draw a city street using 2-point perspective in Adobe Illustrator. I've got requirements and a few tips for you, so here we go. First of all, you have to have 5 buildings in your city street. I'm going to show you an example in a minute on mine, one that I did, so you'll get a better idea of this. But you have to have at least 5 buildings. Now, in order for a structure to be counted as a building, to be complete, it has to have all the appropriate faces. It has to have a door, unless the door would be hidden behind like another building. If it's a building that's behind another building, then it's possible that you might not have a door on there, and I'll take that into account. It has to have at least 1 window to be counted as a building. Has to be filled with a color other than white. I don't want to just do this in the default black and white. You have to add some color to this. Next item, text. 4 required. The text has to be in perspective, so you have to label buildings, put things on the side of buildings or on billboards or whatever you create. But you have to have 4 text items to get full credit. The background must have a sky and a ground. All right, you have to have above the horizon line, it has to look like some sky, and below the horizon line, it has to look like some kind of ground. There's a kind of a scoring here for proper perspective, things that should be in perspective. So if something should be on the left grid, on the blue grid, then it has to be on the left grid. If it looks wrong, if it looks like it's in the wrong perspective, you lose some points there. Precision is another item here. Zoom in if you need to. Use Control plus and Control minus and zoom in and look at your corners and making sure that things are lining up. Precision is a part of it. Details are the other part of this, and I said 5 required, 5 extras, and these are things like, and I'll show you mine in a couple of minutes, but signs in the window, graphics on the side of a building, a plane up in the sky, even clouds up in the sky, even things like stripes down the middle of the street, signposts, lamp posts, doorknobs. I'll show you a whole bunch of mine on mine that could help you. All right, some tips. Control Shift I, as we know, turns the grid off and on. Control plus zooms in, Control minus zooms out, Control 0 jumps out to show you the whole artboard. Control and the left bracket will move things kind of down the stacking order, down lower in the stacking order. So if you need to hide something behind something else, Control and left bracket will help you do that. Control right bracket does just the opposite. It will bring things in front of other things, and that might be helpful as well. Scoring works this way. Each building's worth 5 points, so that's 25. Each text item is worth 5 points, so that's 20 points. The sky in the background is worth 10 points. The proper perspective score is a 10-point score. If we look this over and feel like pretty much everything is in the proper perspective, it's lined up on the correct grid, 10 points for that. Precision, 10 points. The details, 5 of those are required, 2 points each, 10 points total. All right, so when you add all of that up, it's 80 points. Save it on your network drive, and this says upload to My Big Campus, but you don't have to do that. All right. What you do is save it on your network drive, call it City Street, and then drag it and drop it into your turn-in folder. We were with this another semester. I was doing this different, so ignore that. Don't upload it to My Big Campus. Drag it and drop it into your turn-in folder. Now I'm going to hop over to Adobe Illustrator. Here's mine. This is how mine turned out. Okay, I want to show you a couple of things. First of all, I said at least 5 buildings, and I believe I've got a layer here that, yeah, at least 5 buildings, and I've got 8 in mine. So you can see that really it isn't that hard to draw the buildings. And some of my buildings, like the city parking garage, are kind of hiding behind the other buildings, but those still count. But you have to have at least 5 buildings on your 2-point perspective drawing. All right, so there's the buildings. I said 4 text items, at least 4 text items. Let me turn the building numbers off here. Well, I've got way more than 4 on mine, and you can see them here. I've got them circled, and I'll zoom in a little bit. Even way down here on the far left side, that building says Roberts Cameras. But I've got all kinds of text items here to fit the bill. All right. Now the extras are the other thing, and I'm going to kind of stay zoomed up here, and I'll turn on my layer that has those circled. Extras would be things like on this medical center I put the Red Cross symbol, which is just, it's a circle with like a plus sign in the middle of it, and then I dragged it into perspective. But even things like these signs in the windows at Millie's Bakery right here, now hiring and open, those are the kinds of things I mean by extras. And I didn't even circle this door handle here, but I would even count that as an extra, the door handle over here. On the FBI building, I've got a keypad entry, and again, this is something that I made over on the side of the artboard, and I made it bigger and grouped it and then just dragged it into perspective and sized it down the way I wanted. So that keypad entry right there would be counted as an extra. So the details that you have to add are the things that, you know, there's a million ways to do it. Just adding little details to your picture. These yin-yang symbols that I have on the Ninja Warrior training would count. I made the Apple symbol on the side of the Apple Store building here. And that one took a little time. That one took some effort. I've got some pen shapes in there and some gradients applied to it, and so that one took a little bit of effort, but you don't have to go to that much effort. Here's another door handle. Even that counts as an extra. And I've got a little sign on that shelf inside that window that says iPhone 5 here now. So, you know, all those kinds of things would be extras. I'm going to do a Command 0 and snap back here. So all of those would be extras. And oh, I've got a curved arrow here where it says secret entrance around back. So there's lots and lots of ways to add little details that would count as extras in your picture. It's really not all that difficult. All right, now one thing I do want to show you here, I'm going to click File and New and just kind of lay one out here, and I'll turn on my, I'll do Command Shift I. We didn't really talk about this a whole lot, but this, if you turn on your perspective grid tool and your perspective selection tool, and I'm going to go ahead and tear that off so I have both those tools available. If I take the grid tool, here's one thing that you can do. If you use the grid tool and I grab this left handle that's right on there, I can lower the horizon line. If you would like to make this look like kind of a lower angle, you can lower down this horizon line if you want to, or you could do just the opposite. You could grab this very far left handle and pull it up and raise the horizon line, and what that does, it almost makes it look like you're looking down on that city corner more than it would, I'll undo that, more than it would if you leave that horizon line right in the middle. Here, you know, you're almost like street level, and well, even maybe a little bit above street level, but you're kind of, the horizon is right at eye level here. And if I pull this down and make it lower, now it's almost like I'm standing on the street, and these buildings are all going to be taller than me, and you know, you got a lower angle on this kind of thing. So you can adjust that however you want to, and you can adjust your perspective just a little bit there if you wish. You know, I kind of like it down a little bit, but it's really it's up to you. You do it however you want to. Now, if I were going to, and I'm going to do this very fast, I'm going to kind of slap in, you know, the beginnings of maybe a couple of buildings here. Let's say that I should undo that, and I'll put it right on the corner. I'll make a building here right on the corner, and let's just fill that in. It doesn't matter right now. I want to do this fast. Now I'll switch to the right grid. I'm making a building on the corner here. All right, and just, it doesn't have to be perfect for right now because I just have a quick thing that I want to show you, and those colors are terrible, but that's okay. And I'm going to extend this on down. You know, that would count as one building, and then I've got here maybe as another building that's right next to that building, and I wind up with a building over here that's, you know, next to this building, and you just kind of keep working on these. Whoops, I don't want to do it like that. I want to. There's a couple of little things that you may run into, and I'm going to change the color of that one so you can. All right, now for example, on this yellow building, because it's taller than the building right next to it, it seems like we would be able to see the side of that building. It's way over here on the right-hand side of the grid, but we would be able to see the side of the building. Well, okay, the thing you have to kind of keep in mind here is the side of that building you would want to draw by activating the left grid. Take the rectangle tool and draw a rectangle that stretches down like this. But see, here's the problem you sometimes run into, and I'll change the color of that a little bit. That doesn't look right. You don't want that red sticking here in front of this green building. So this is where, as long as you have that selected, this is where that command left bracket, command right bracket trick comes in really handy. If I hold down the, and I'm saying command because I'm doing a Mac, I'm in control on the Windows on your computer at school. So you hold control and hit the left bracket. You keep tapping the left bracket enough. You see it just disappeared behind those green faces of those other buildings, and that's what I want. I want it to disappear behind there. Then you can even make buildings that are completely behind the others if you want to. Like I could select the blue, and I could make a big old building like that. And that red building is sticking up. It's real tall, but if I use command or control and left bracket here and hide it behind those other pieces, and then if I want more of that building, I could click the right grid and come up here. I need the rectangle tool. I could make more of that building, and I did not get the right grid there, so I want the right grid and the rectangle tool. I draw that. And let's change the color of that just to help with. All right, see, it doesn't look right now, but if I use that control left bracket and keep tapping the left bracket until it disappears back behind, there we go. All right, now actually this, and I'm just getting picky here, is all this little green box. I really kind of wanted it to be, butted up right next to, and I'm doing a terrible job with that, but you get the idea. That's where I would zoom in and do some real close work if I really wanted to. But again, what I'm showing you here is it's possible to hide buildings behind other buildings by using that control left bracket, control right bracket. This red and green building is like a tall building that's behind those other buildings. And you can do that kind of thing if you want to. All right, that's the end of the tips and the tricks that I have for you, and I think you're all set and you're ready to go. So, and I've left plenty of time for this one, plenty of time to really put some detail into it and work on it and do a good job on it. So, 1, 2, 3, break. Time for you to have at it.